Hi, I'm Jim Gordon at Beers and Gordon. Sometimes after a crash, the other driver leaves the scene before you have a chance to find out who they were. In our industry, that's what's called a hit and run. What do you want to do after you've been involved in a hit and run? The first thing you want to do is call the police. Why? The problem is if you don't call the police and you go and report that accident to your insurance company later, what do you think the first thing they're going to think? That crash never happened, or it didn't happen where you said it happened. That's why it's so important to call the police from the scene, say this is what happened, I'm going to sit here and wait till you come and document the crash for me, get the information. That's the first thing you should do. The next thing you should do is call your insurance company. Tell them what happened in the accident, tell them from the scene of the accident what happened so it's documented. There are some insurance policies that read, if you don't report a hit and run in 24 hours, you are banned from coming after them for underinsured motorist coverage or any other coverage you have. So you got to be very careful on starting to take those steps after an accident. Now, what else may you do after hit and run? There is potential to follow the person. We've had cases where people have followed them through traffic and taken a picture of their license plate. I would recommend that be as far as you go. Why? Because if they're the type of person that's going to hit and run, do you really want to confront them somewhere on the road? No, probably not. But if you can track them down and get a copy of their license plate, that's going to be important. You can turn it in to the police. The police will probably tell you if you call them and you're following them, not to follow them after you get that license plate. But then the police will go out and take care of it for you. They will be the ones that will confront that person and say, you were in an accident, this was reported, and they will look at the damage to the vehicle and make sure it matches up to what you have reported occurred in that accident. If you're at a hit and run accident scene and you're able to capture that person's information, even though they've left the scene, it's important for two reasons. Number one, you're gonna be able to potentially get coverage through the other driver for your injuries and your property damage and everything else. That's very important. Number two, if you do have a case against that person, what great evidence do we have now in that case that I, as an attorney, love to present? Not only were you in an accident, that person left the accident. What do you think jurors are going to think about that person if we're standing in front of a jury later on in the case and we can say, not only did this person cause an accident, they hit and they ran from that accident. That actually increases the value of your case. If you're involved in a hit and run, one of the other things you may want to do is document the scene just like in any other accident. Even though there's not other vehicles there, you may want to take pictures, or you should take pictures of where exactly the crash occurred. Because even though you may report that to the officer and the officer may do a crash report, it's going to be important for the insurance company to say this is the intersection, or this is the interstate, and this is the mile marker on the interstate where it happened. So that's very important to document all that. Document your vehicle at the scene, document the damages at the scene. That way down the road, especially if you don't have a police officer come to the scene for some reason, you can document and show the insurance company it didn't happen somewhere else, because their first reaction is it didn't happen, it's not our fault, it didn't happen the way you did. So if you document it, we can show that documentation, or you can show that documentation. That's very important after a hit and run. If you're the person that's in a hit and run and you're the person that fled the accident, the first and best piece of advice I can give you is go back to the crash scene, especially if it's a serious accident. There's a Florida statute out there that if you are involved in a hit and run and it's a fatality, you're gonna go to jail for leaving that accident. In fact, we've handled a hit and run case where the person was found 6 hours or so later. He ended up in jail for 5 years, basically for leaving the scene of an accident. So don't leave the scene of an accident, but if you do, make the correct decision, go back, check on everyone, explain why you left, explain that you were nervous or something like that. The officers are usually, I've seen this happen before, they're usually gonna let it slide because you did come back to the scene and you did do the right thing. If for some reason you can't make it back to the scene, call it into the police. Tell them what happened, say why you left the scene and now I can't make it back for whatever reason, but explain to the police that you were involved in the accident so they can document it. But like I said, it's certainly vitally important if it's a very bad accident and you left and you panicked that you go back, because if you don't, you could end up with very dire consequences. So if you've been involved in a hit and run accident and you have questions, give us a call at Beers and Gordon. We've handled numerous hit and run cases. We know how to handle them with the insurance companies. We know how to handle them with the officers. We'll get the best information for you. We'll get the best information to the insurance companies, and we'll be able to handle that case from start to finish.